If you enjoy spine-chilling stories that lead to sleepless nights, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and leave your comment below. Now, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and get ready for a story that will freeze your blood. The presence in the basement since I moved into this house, something has felt wrong. It's hard to explain the feeling. You know when you walk into a place and feel like you're being watched? Like a pair of invisible eyes are glued to you, following your every move? That's exactly how I felt, but I couldn't find anything concrete to justify this constant fear. It was just an old house, right? The property had been vacant for years before I bought it. It was an old house built in the late 19th century, full of charming architectural details, but also with its share of history. The neighbors were reserved, but those I spoke with hinted that the house had a reputation. They said it was haunted, but who still believes in those things, right? I laughed, ignoring the implicit warning, attributing the weirdness to the fact that it was an old house, and of course, any place like that would have its stories. The first few days were normal, but by the second week, things started to get disturbing. At night, while trying to sleep, I would hear strange noises coming from the basement. It was like something was scratching the walls. At first, I thought it was rats, maybe even bats. After all, it was an old house. But then, the sound started getting louder, more insistent, as if something big was trying to get out of there. In the third week, I decided to go down and investigate. The basement was dark and damp, with a smell of mold and decay. The walls were lined with old bricks, covered in moss and lichen. A dim bulb hung from the ceiling, casting long, distorted shadows. As I examined the space, I noticed that there was a part of the wall that looked different. The bricks there were a slightly different color, as if they had been placed there after the house was built. That was strange. I grabbed a sledgehammer and started knocking down the bricks. What I found on the other side made me wish I had never started. Behind that wall was a small room, dark and claustrophobic. In the center was an old chest, covered in dust and cobwebs. My heart was pounding as I approached. Something in the back of my mind screamed for me to stop, to get out of there, but curiosity was stronger. I wanted to know what was in that chest. I needed to know. With trembling hands, I lifted the lid. Inside, I found a series of strange items. An old child's dress, faded and dusty, a doll with a disturbingly blank stare, and a series of black and white photographs. Each photo showed the same girl, dressed in the same dress as in the chest. In some, she was alone. In others, she was with a woman, presumably her mother. But there was something wrong with the photos. The faces of the people were blurred, distorted in a way that couldn't just be the degradation of time. They looked wrong, as if something malevolent was imprinted on those images. I tried to forget what I had seen, but I couldn't. The nights became unbearable. I heard footsteps down the hall, doors creaking, and worst of all, that child's laugh, soft and ghostly. It seemed to be coming from everywhere at once, and I knew deep down that it was the same girl from the photos. I decided to investigate the history of the house. I discovered that in the late 19th century, the house belonged to a wealthy family. The daughter, a girl named Clara, had died under mysterious circumstances. The records were unclear, but rumors said that the mother had gone mad and locked her daughter in the basement, where the girl starved to death. The father, upon discovering what his wife had done, killed her before committing suicide. The story was horrific, but it explained what I was feeling. That night, as I tried to sleep, the presence in the basement became more insistent. I could hear Clara's laugh, but now it was accompanied by a female voice, low and menacing. "You shouldn't have opened the chest," the voice whispered. "Now she's free." Desperate, I decided to get rid of the items from the chest. I took the dress, the doll, and the photos and carried them to the backyard, where I built a bonfire. As the objects burned, I felt a presence behind me. I quickly turned around, but no one was there. Still, I felt a chill run down my spine, as if someone was watching me from very close by. That night was the worst of all. The house was colder than usual, and the shadows on the walls seemed to move on their own. The sound of footsteps became louder, more insistent. It wasn't just Clara anymore. Now it was as if a crowd was walking through the house, whispering and laughing. I was on the verge of a breakdown. That's when I saw my bedroom door slowly open on its own. In the dark hallway, I saw a figure. It was Clara, in her faded dress and pale face. But she wasn't alone. Beside her was the woman from the photos, her mother, with a look of absolute hatred on her face. They started walking toward me, and I was paralyzed with fear. That night, I fled the house without looking back. I never returned. I sold the property at a price far below market value, just to get rid of that cursed place. To this day, I have nightmares about Clara and her mother, and I can still hear her laugh in my dreams, as if she's calling me to come back. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any more terrifying videos like this one. And remember, some places don't bury the past. Sometimes it's just waiting for someone to open the right door, or the wrong one.